Hi, this is Abby with the Padillas, and this is the shot breakdown where I tell you exactly how we got an image from start to finish, from the vision to the final edit, and how we made it happen. This is the image that we're going to be going over today. It's a beautiful enchanted forest inspired image that we did for a quinceañera pre-event session. One of the most requested looks that we get for all of our photo shoots is enchanted forest. And this is probably 1 in every 4 photo shoots that we do. So it's really important that we make sure that all of our girls get a different look. We really challenge ourselves to do something different and unique with every single girl. So this shot was taken at Golden Gate Park, and it was a quiet little area kind of tucked away. And to be honest, I think most people would kind of drive by this location and not think much of it. But as we always say, it is not the location that makes the magic. It is us, and it is our job to create the magic. Now, this specific quinceañera, her name is Genesis. Her dress had this really dreamy, princessy kind of look to it. And so as soon as I saw it, I thought Disney princess in a castle, which ironically we did do her City Hall photos. So the first location was City Hall in a beautiful princess castle, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about this beautiful enchanted forest. But think about it like the beginning of the shoot was her as a Disney princess in her castle, and then the second part of the shoot was her in the forest. Very like Sleeping Beauty Aurora kind of. That was kind of the vibe that I was going for with this. I really wanted it to feel that if a deer or like a fairy godmother were to enter the frame, it would look really natural. And I think this location was exactly that. While this location was beautiful and while this location was enchanted and everything that we wanted, it did have mosquitoes. So that was something that we, I don't think we really prepared for that because we didn't have bug spray or anything, but Genesis loved the location. She loved the trees and she was like, I don't care if I'm getting bit by mosquitoes. I want this shot. I want this location. So we kind of braved through it. She definitely braved through it and was such a good sport about it. And the image was definitely worth it. And she saw the image afterwards and was like, it was worth getting bit by a couple mosquitoes, but that was the downside of this location. And just something about the photo shoot in general that was really sweet was that her parents were super into it and they were telling her the entire time like, oh my God, you are so beautiful. Her dad was just like, oh, this is my dream to see my daughter in her dress. And that always helps us as photographers to make us feel like, oh my gosh, we're doing our job correctly, and it hypes up the quinceañera. Now let's talk about the creative vision, because as soon as I saw the texture and the way that these trees kind of looked animated, if that makes sense. Like if you were to look at Snow White or Sleeping Beauty or any of those films, the trees, these are the exact trees that they would probably draw. If not, these are the trees that they drew. Like they had a lot of character to them, a lot of texture. And we love that, especially when we're shooting with light, because we can enhance the texture with the light. I really wanted her to feel really elegant and regal and princess-like. So when it came to the posing, I made sure that the theme of this entire photo shoot was very soft. So she had a very soft features. Her dress was like this really soft pink. I wanted it to be soft. So the pose had to be very soft, very gentle. The face had to be very serene. So I had to make sure to kind of talk her through how to do that, which a little background, like we are really comfortable with our quinceañeras at this point, but a good way to kind of get them to relax is to kind of walk them through the pose that you're putting them into, and then telling them at the end, okay, now take a deep breath and relax into the pose. And usually that relax into the pose lets them kind of relax their shoulders down a little bit. If it looks too hunched, you can always tell them to kind of like bring their shoulders back a little bit. But I found that once you pose them, once you tell them, okay, now relax into the pose, they kind of just naturally get into the pose in a way where it looks natural, not superposed, very elegant and soft. So that's exactly what I did here. So going with the theme of softness, we needed to make sure that our light was also soft. So now let's get into the technical breakdown. For our gear, the camera that we used was the Nikon Z6, and the lens that I had on that was a 50mm 1.2 lens. Here were my camera settings. I was at an aperture of 1.2. The ISO was at 125 and the shutter speed was 1/200. Now for lighting, we used a 600 watt light, and for our diffuser, we used a 42-inch softbox. Now let's get into post-processing. Our first step for every single shoot that we do for quinceañeras, pre-event sessions, etc., is to start with Imagine AI, which leads me right into our little ad break, which is to talk about Imagine AI. Okay, really quick. I do have to give a shout out to Imagine AI because this has completely changed the way that I edit. It's an AI editing program that learns your specific editing style. And I'm not even kidding. It really does save you hours. You don't have to worry about going through every single image and changing and editing specific things, because it does learn your specific style and it is really, really accurate. We also use Imagine AI for their culling feature that they do have as an add-on as well. We built our own profile and now it edits our sessions in minutes. It really feels like you have a second version of me doing all the culling and all the base edits. So if you're a photographer who's drowning in edits, you gotta give it a try. And if you use our link below, then you will also get 1,500 free edits so that you can try it out for yourself. Now back to the video. So once those base edits are done with Imagine, we take the image into Camera Raw and we remove distractions. So if there's any people who are walking around the background, or if there's something that you don't want, it's really easy with the generative fill without having to take it into Photoshop. And once we are done with our Camera Raw edits, then we take that into ePhoto and do all of our retouching in there. So that is skin and hair and even clothing retouching, which is really amazing. Now some closing remarks. What would I have done differently with this image? I really do love this image, and I think that it kind of conveys everything that I wanted it to, which is quinceañera, a princess who's in the garden. It's very enchanted. It's very beautiful. I think something that could maybe add a little bit to it is maybe adding a prop like a lantern or something kind of magical. So if we would have had a lantern and maybe like a glowy light inside of it, I guess that could have added just a little bit more storytelling in the image. But I am really happy with the image overall. If you have any suggestions or anything like that, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'm really interested to see what people have to say. So thank you so much for watching the very first episode of the Shop Breakdown. I really enjoyed this. I want to do a lot more of these because it helps. And it helps us to also learn a little bit more kind of reviewing our images, but hopefully it helps you. And if this video did inspire you at all to change something or do something or try something different for your next photo shoot, definitely leave it a like and be sure to leave a comment and subscribe, because we will have a lot more of these coming out very soon. Anyway, see you next time. Bye-bye.